Hello folks, Anita Rao. So today I wanted to discuss a very important transit. But before I do that, I actually wanted to say a big thanks to those who have subscribed and of course to those who leave feedback and comments. For those who have not yet done so, please click the hand icon on the right hand side. Thank you. One other thing I wanted to just touch on briefly. So I've been requested to do monthly forecasts and I'm going to look into this early next year. But for now, as usual, feel free to subscribe to my detailed monthly forecast that I write every month and I post it on my website. You can subscribe to it and get it on your email every month, yeah? Thank you. In fact, one thing that may come in handy for people who are not yet familiar with the Vedic signs and you know where their moon is, where their lagna is, you'll find a chart calculator on my website in case you don't know your moon or ascendant sign. Yeah. All right, so let's get started. We have a lot to talk about here. Yeah. All right, so Jupiter will go into Sagittarius on November the 5th and remain there until November the 20th, 2020. Jupiter will speed through Sagittarius and then dip into Capricorn on March the 29th for 2 months up until June the 29th when it returns to Sagittarius in 2020. It will be retrograde from May the 14th till September the 13th of 2020. Now this is the Mool Trikon sign for Jupiter, which is fantastic, as this is where Jupiter feels most comfortable, as this is his home sign. Now, what does Jupiter represent? And why is Jupiter's transit so important? Well, in astronomy, Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system and has protected life on Earth for hundreds of millions of years by shielding us from comets. Similarly, in astrology, it offers protection where it is placed and acts as a guiding light for us. Now, because Jupiter moves so slow, it takes 1 year to transit a sign and 12 years to come back to the place where it sits in your sign. So everyone's going to feel its impact one way or the other, as you normally would with a slow-moving planet. Now, in Kendra and trine houses, it's very supportive. So this is going to be a great time for Gemini, for Virgo, for Pisces, for Sagittarius, as well as Aries and Leos. Sagittarius themes will start to come to the surface. People will get more interested in spirituality, foreign travel, connecting or finding a guru, higher learning of any kind, university, for example, or upgrading your education in some way or the other, connecting with your father, doing things in an ethical way, and making your relationship official, as in marriage. Being the greatest benefic, results will be positive for areas in your chart where it will impact. Wherever Jupiter transits, it expands, and where it aspects, it blesses those areas in our chart. Jupiter transiting Sagittarius will be in the same space as Saturn and Ketu to begin with, at least for the first couple of months. Here it will manage this difficult energy, but from a distance, because the conjunction is quite wide between Jupiter and Ketu and Saturn. But nonetheless, Sagittarius will feel a relief because you're getting the aspect of Jupiter being in the same space. Jupiter from Sagittarius will, of course, aspect Rahu in Gemini, as well as Aries, as well as Leo. So all of those signs will get a welcome relief. This will, of course, also be a welcome change for Rahu, who has been getting Saturn's close aspect for the past few months. Now, when Jupiter enters Sagittarius, it's going to go through 3 different nakshatras. First, it's going to start its transit in Mula Nakshatra for the first 2 months, 5th of November to 4th of Jan. And this can be a great time for clearing away all of the old and outdated in your life and establish new foundations. Then Jupiter will go into Purvashada from 4th of Jan till 30th of October. It's a great time for foreign travel, a spiritual initiation, any kind of reconciliation, and starting new relationships, or even getting married. And this is actually where Jupiter will spend most of the transit. Finally, Jupiter will go into Uttarashada from 30th of October for about 3 weeks only. 3 weeks in Sagittarius, and then of course it changes sign and goes into Capricorn and remains in Uttarashada for a while. Now, by looking at the constellations, we can actually go one step deeper and uncover the underlying pulse of the planet's transit. It's subtle energies, and therefore we can uncover a deeper layer to understand how it's going to impact us. For instance, Mula Nakshatra. Mula Nakshatra is what? It's foundation. It's the roots in our life. And here with Jupiter transiting Mula with Ketu and Saturn's presence, it's possible we will have to clear away something before we can place a more solid foundation. Dates to be watchful for is December end till January end, when something could come to a climax and you will have to release it. This is the conjunction of Ketu and Jupiter becoming quite close there. Jupiter's transit will make the clearing away less painful, as here Jupiter will help to remove old, broken foundations to make room for new. Then once this has been done, you can start to place new foundations. And for most of 2020, Jupiter will transit through Purvashada. Purvashada will help us face issues that require courage. And with Jupiter transiting here, it's a good time for reconciliations and forgiveness in all of your relationships, particularly the ones that got impacted by the Saturn going through Purvashada and perhaps causing some strains and separations. Now, any foreign travel will also bring good results during this transit. Any spiritual and occult initiation is highly favored here, with Jupiter going through Purvashada. And of course, it's a very favorable time for a marriage or starting any kind of romantic relationship. Now, let's look at the transits and how they will affect us. Now, the big question always comes up is, should I see the transit from the Ascendant or the Moon? Ascendant, remember, stands for intellect. It stands for your personality, your intelligence, so the effects you experience are visible and can be seen by everyone. It represents the physical, the material, and the social aspects of your life. Whereas the Moon, everything is happening at the mental and emotional level. So it'll be more hidden, more personal, internal, and can also be more painful. So it may not be visible as it can be shielded by you. Moon transit shows how every tangible event can affect us on the mental and emotional levels. Also remember, for the first 2 months, all significations of the transit will be colored by the presence of Saturn. And for most of the time, Jupiter is transiting through the nodal axis. So we can expect that the results you get will be impacted by the nodes, bringing kind of a suddenness and an unexpected quality to what comes to the surface. Yeah, so bear that in mind. Here we have the nodes as well as Jupiter, though, in either their own sign or exalted. So overall, we can expect positive and good surprises. Also remember, what I'm going to cover is a general overview, as usual. To see what's promised for you specifically, the first thing to do is see what your birth chart says, of course, and secondly, what dasha you are going through at the moment. If something is not promised in your birth chart, so there's no potential there, then and you're not having a supportive dasha, then the transit may not help to manage that situation. Yeah. Let's just take just a general example here. For instance, you're going through the Mahadasha of Saturn, which is situated in your 10th house in your birth chart, and it's also your 11th lord. And you've been waiting for a career promotion. Now, let's say the transit of Jupiter is going through your 4th house. Then it activates Saturn and the 10th house by direct aspect in transit. So there's a good chance of the promotion coming. Remember that Jupiter transits the same place every 12 years. And astrology can show patterns in our lives. So it's very important to see what happened in your life 12 years ago, as the same themes and issues may arise again. This is especially important for those who are experiencing a Jupiter return in their chart. For instance, if your natal Jupiter is sitting in Sagittarius. A 12-year period for you would have just ended, and a new 12-year phase is now starting. This is the time to plant new seeds. Anything you start, whether it's a new project, business, career, residence, relationship, spiritual practice, you can be sure that Jupiter's blessings will be there. Being in a Jupiter return cycle, you will undergo a big shift in one of these areas, at least, possibly more than one. Usually Jupiter return is a lucky year where you are in the right place at the right time. And it's a year when people just show up in your life to help you achieve your goals and your desires. So it's very important to have clear intentions as they will bring the positive results that you've been waiting for. So you need to check the lordship of Jupiter and see where it's placed in your chart to get a hint about where you can experience growth, luck, and blessings during this transit. Do also see if it's getting direct aspects from other planets, as this will of course color the results that you get. So for example, if your 10th lord is sitting with Jupiter in your chart, or directly opposing Jupiter, then surely your career will get a boost. In the same way, if it is directly opposite your 7th lord, then maybe it's a good time to start a relationship or get married. Yeah. It's a time when you may find new meaning in life, new purpose, new inspiration. Especially since this is a Sagittarius transit, so we can afford to be optimistic again. Now I'm going to go through all of the signs and give a brief and general overview. Yeah, so let's get started with that. Okay, so starting as usual with Aries. For you, Jupiter is going into your lucky 9th house, so this is a very auspicious time for you. The house of luck and prosperity is activated now. It's a great time for starting any higher studies of any kind. Good time to build your qualifications, skills, develop your ideas from the research and the findings from your recent 8th house transit. It's a great time for traveling far and wide. 9th house is also the house of advisors and guides. So it's a great time to take advice and guidance, maybe from astrologers, or a guru, or a counselor, for instance. It's a great time to improve your relationship with your father. If you don't have a guru, one can come into your life, so pay attention to whom you meet. Its aspect on your 5th house can bring a fulfilling new relationship, and also a good time for childbirth. You will feel regenerated and renewed, as it's also aspecting your 1st house, bringing enthusiasm and optimism for new beginnings. With Ketu there, of course, you can finally see the big picture of your life, your purpose, and come to terms with it. Yeah? Alright, so what's happening for Taurus? For Taurus, Jupiter enters your 8th house. You can develop an interest in occult, spirituality, deep healing modalities. This will be a period of uncovering secrets, hidden realities, mysteries, puzzles, and maybe some confidential information. It's the best time to go deeper into any practice that you had started, any kind of spiritual practice, any kind of healing practice, any kind of, it could be yoga, it could be meditation. Eighth house represents obsessions. It also represents fears and subconscious thoughts. So these could come to the surface. Intuition could become sharper and more clear. There will be a feeling that divine help comes your way when you need it. Eighth house also represents reproductive organs, so you may conceive a child right now during this transit. Great time for a spiritual practice as it will clear away confusion. Also good for any sort of nature retreats. Overall, a good time for any self-awareness type of initiative that you take in life. Eighth is second from the seventh, so this will show gains from others. For example, joint investments and things like that. Great for sudden gains, but after some struggle, perhaps. After all, it's the eighth house. If you're going through a divorce, then you can expect a good settlement from your spouse. But take care of your health, or any chronic ailments may come to the surface, so do pay attention to your health. And I would say don't borrow or lend money during this transit. Yeah. So what's happening for Gemini? Gemini, for you, it's a fantastic transit. Jupiter is going to be transiting through your 7th house, which is Kendra house, of course. It's a great time to make any kind of connections with others, especially if you're single. You could certainly get married at this time. So where relationships are concerned, you're going to have luck on your side, and you're going to meet quality people who will bring you luck as well. Business partnerships will also get blessed. So great time to form alliances of any sort. Your earnings from business ventures can also increase. Your contacts will support you as well. So reach out to people. Great time to nurture relationships, as others will be viewing you in a positive light. So perhaps take an initiative and go out there and meet people. It's also a great time to marry, but with Ketu and Saturn there, you can expect the person to be older, or there can be some kind of eccentric type of qualities to the person. I would certainly wait till Saturn leaves the Sagittarius zone to do that, so after the end of Jan of 2020. All right, Cancer, what's happening for you guys? So transit for you is happening in your 6th house. 6th house, of course, is the house of health, court cases, diseases, enemies. So you may be placed in the position to help those who are the victims of disease, for example, to sort out some of your legal issues and maybe win some arguments while you're at it. It's the best time to work hard in life, as this can bring a lot of success. Normally, daily routines can feel like a burden, but with this Jupiter transiting here right now for you, you could develop a much better routine and enjoy it more. You may have subordinates that have become demanding, so keep an eye out for that. It's the best time to learn any kind of healing modalities if you've ever thought about doing that. It's a great time to focus on your health. You can explore areas of health, put in a new exercise regime, put in a new vitamin regimen, see which foods are healing, and eliminate foods from your life that are not. It's a good time to have a health checkup. So visit a nutritionist or create a good diet. Fantastic time for that. And it will surely be long lasting. Yeah. You can also earn well from your job right now. And if you have any family assets, you might get earnings through that. It's a great time to get a pet if you've ever thought about doing that. Or spend more time with the pets that you already have. If you've been thinking about moving abroad, this is an excellent time because it throws its aspect onto your 12th house. Yeah. Leos. Leos can look forward to a fantastic transit. It's great to have Jupiter going through your 5th house. Here Jupiter is very confident, creative, and can channel divine intelligence, so that you know what decisions to make, what is right and what's not. Here he can increase your scope to claim power as well, yeah, or empower yourself. It can bring luck into your speculative and gambling activities, including stock market or any other kind of investments. It's good for childbirth if you're aiming for this, and good for pursuing any kind of studies. You'll become more creative, more artistic. You can change your appearance, your image, and you'll see benefits immediately. It's a great time for any kind of investment, as I mentioned, or even to grow your own business and initiate a new business. Yeah. Fifth house is house of promotions. So it's best to ask your boss for a promotion now. Fifth house is also the house of mantra. So if you've been thinking about starting mantra, this is excellent for that. Past life karma, any good deeds that you've done will be rewarded and will come to the surface now. If you're single and planning to get into a relationship, this is an excellent time for that. It's a great time to pursue anything that you love, that which brings you joy and happiness. So from the fifth house, it's aspecting the ninth house and your lagna. So this is a great blessing and can bring a lot of lucky breaks into your life. So get out there and take some chances. This transit can bring lots of good options your way, but you have to, of course, choose wisely. In fact, once Saturn moves into Capricorn, you can look forward to a fantastic time, as all of the slow-moving planets will be well placed for you next year. So, good times ahead, Leo. Virgo, this transit is taking place in your fourth house, so it's a great time to move residence if you've been thinking about doing that. Maybe to invest or buy a new property. Good time for education as well. Financial gains can come your way. Fourth house represents comforts in general. So anything that feels like being at home, it can represent your mother as well. So perhaps develop a relationship there. It can represent luxuries, cars, land, property. If you're planning to get some sort of healing modality, then it's an excellent time, because fourth house also represents your heart. Yeah. Your traditional philosophies can now make sense to you. It's a good time to visit your birthplace, if you've been thinking about doing that. If you want to redecorate your home, this is an excellent time for that. It's of course a great time to reconnect with your family. Yeah. And just generally, your domestic life will probably see more growth of some sort. If you marry now, then your spouse can provide a strong emotional anchor for you as well. Yeah. Libra, what's going on for you? So this transit, Jupiter goes into your third house, which of course signifies self-effort, initiatives, new business enterprises. So if you want to start a new endeavor, new business, a new website, this is a year to do it, because Jupiter is going to give you a boost in that direction. So you may put a lot of energy into connecting with younger siblings as well. It's a good time for writing books, blogs, any sort of written communication. Of course, great time for short distance travel as well. Also a great time for developing your hobbies or taking up any new hobbies. You could take your hobby and turn it into a business. Great time for that. Third house represents subconscious mind. So it shows ways of connecting with other people, and you can get some blessings here. It can also bring subconscious sort of hang-ups or maybe areas where you're insecure to the surface, so that you can finally face up to that and you know, move forward. Petty issues can crop up with others in this way, so just have an awareness towards that. It's aspecting your 7th and 11th house, so blessings towards all relationships and getting involved with groups and community work. So great time overall. Scorpios, what's happening for you? Well, a relief. So Jupiter goes into your 2nd house, and you will finally feel some relief, because you've been going through a very tough Sade Sati transit, and Jupiter and Scorpio didn't perhaps help that much. Second house is the house that sustains us by way of food, wealth, family. So your wealth could increase, your family could increase. You'll get a lot of support from your family overall now, and new opportunities for financial growth could also come up. It's a great time to save money. You may be trying different types of food. Your speech will become more refined, so you'll attract more people towards you. Secondary source of income, like inheritances, for instance, from your family or from your partner, could show up in your life. Okay, so Sagittarius. This is an excellent transit for you, and you'll finally feel some relief from the difficult year that you may have undergone so far. Jupiter goes into your first house. Ideal position, especially if it's your Lagna. Very good time. When Jupiter enters a Kendra house, especially the Lagna, as Jupiter gets Digbala here, meaning directional strength, so making you feel positive with just about any area of your life. Here Jupiter expands all matters related to the first house, your social status, ego, physical body. Sources of wealth can increase. You can get a chance to improve your education. Great time to get married, as it's directly aspecting your 7th house from here. Great time to start a new business. Great time for traveling to foreign places. Relationship with children will improve. If you start a spiritual practice now, you'll achieve success. Great time to meet a guru. You're more likely that the person will automatically come to you as well. So just look out for that. If you want to make up relationships that have been damaged in the past, especially the past couple of years, then it's a good time to do this. Overall, it's a great transit, so I would say make the most of it. Yeah. Capricorn, Jupiter is going into your 12th house. This is Jupiter's natural place, so it feels comfortable here. But it's also the house of loss, though, so loss of the physical and gain of the astral. So take care of your health here. Yeah. House of seclusion. It's also a house of represents isolation, charity, and expenses as well. So you could be spending a lot. But normally, I find with Jupiter, you're spending on good things. Dreams, visions, messages from the astral world will be available, so pay attention to your inner voice. It's a great time to let go of things, possessions, people, ideas, thoughts, beliefs that you've held on to for a long time. Great time to give up any sort of addiction as well. Good time to connect to nature and spirituality and meditation so that you can get ready for the next big cycle. Yeah, when Jupiter goes into your house. This is the last year of a 12-year cycle coming to an end, so it's a good time to start a spiritual practice, especially a good time for yoga retreats and meditation. And any time spent in an ashram can also bring some peace of mind for you. Great time to relocate abroad, make trips to unknown places. So overall, it's a good time to go inward and get ready for the new 12-year cycle that's going to begin next year. All right, so for Aquarius, for you, Jupiter goes into the 11th house. Fantastic transit, represents gain, social connections, daily income, desires. This is a very important house because it's a house of desire. Secondary source of income may also appear in your life. Sources of income may increase, and Rahu energies can, of course, offer unusual type of sources of income, which may be profitable to you. Growth in income as well. Whatever efforts you put into your career now, you can see some results. Great time to develop connections of any kind. Good time to give back to society as well. Yeah, in any form, donation, your time, volunteer, that sort of thing. Great time to get involved in any sort of groups and community work. It's all around prosperity for you, actually. Any area like marriage, children, career, income. All planets do well. The 11th house, especially Jupiter and Saturn. So overall a good transit. Right, so Pisces. Pisces for you, it's going into the 10th house. So this is a time that you can try to do something big in life. You can try to change your image. Your status also may increase. 10th house dominates the chart. Yeah, for everyone. So you could get involved with good activities as Jupiter will be transiting here. Remember, it represents the house of karma. It's a good time to seek a mentor as well. This is Saturn's natural house, and Saturn can have a restraining effect, so it can bring some restrictions in your work environment, so be watchful for that, especially with the Saturn-Ketu conjunction happening as well. So be careful with your relationship with bosses and people in authority, for instance. And one more thing, just remember to be practical and not too philosophical during this transit, even though Jupiter in Sagittarius will want you to be more philosophical, but because it's your 10th house, I'd say remain grounded in your actions, yeah? Because if you are practical, your ambitions will be rewarded and more powers will be granted to you. All the best, Pisces. That's all, folks. Hope you found that helpful. And of course, please feel free to leave any comments you have below. All the best to you.